Well, hello to all of my friends. Thank you for coming to my YouTube page live. That's right, live now. And let me, okay, take care of business the way I should. Thank you for joining me today. I thought that I would do a YouTube live to, first of all, thank the many of you that send me condolences. My younger brother passed away a few days ago, and I thought that I'd come on and talk about a little bit more about transitioning and give you a little bit of background of my family and to speak about my family. As a matter of fact, I recently today spoke with a cousin of mine and had a delightful conversation with him. And we were talking about us as family members as we grew up together and how we appreciated growing up as a young person. And I thought it interesting when he began to ask me questions concerning uh, how our family developed. And I thought that I'd share that. I have my dinner here, so if I turn away and go to eat a mouthful of something, that's you've come to PJ's Live. Well, what we're calling this is, basically how do we get along with loss? My brother was 78 when he passed. I'm 80. If you went to my page, not my YouTube page, but my Facebook page, you see a picture of my brother and I on Christmas Day. He was in hospice. He was not expected to live, but it still took me by great surprise. Let me put a little bit more light on the subject here, and so that you can get there we go, a better picture. I usually do far better than this. I'm sorry for being late again. I'm always late when I fix my page up with the lights and everything here in the studio. But here's a toast, some of my favorite red wine. A toast to my brother Ross. Uh, what a wonderful life and what a wonderful man. My brother. I'm just not going to talk about transitioning. I don't think that's very important to spend all my time talking about that. I want to talk about a few things and maybe a few things that some of you can find interesting. It's March the 8th, and the year is going by very fast for me. Guess what I got in the mail today? He used to be my, what do you call him? He used to be in the church that I pastored. He was the financial officer. He kept care of all of the finance, and I was speaking with him, and he said, PJ, do you remember when you married my wife and I? And I honestly had to tell him no. I mean, it was That was back in 1998. And I just put the DVD up here. Excuse me for turning away. I'm kind of rude. I should have had all of this set up. But as I said, you know me. But is this it? No, this isn't it. I got it up here somewhere. I just put it up here because I just took a glance at it. Excuse me, let me look through this stack right here. I just thought that I slipped it in here. That's how I misplace a lot of things in this office. I have a lot of things that I just put up in the deal because I'm not thinking about. That's why my records are all jumbled up and no good. And I apologize, but I want to, well, he knows if he watches me. I watched the DVD of a marriage that I performed for he and his wife back in November of 1998. Let me let some light in on this side. There we go. There we go. That balances the thing out a little bit better. There we go. Much better. I performed a wedding ceremony for him back there, and I watched the whole wedding ceremony. Now, what did I get out of it? Seeing how things were. I was going to have it up and show it on another screen and show it to you guys to show you how much things have changed. But can I eat? You know, I ordered a nice dish. Look at that. Can you see that? Oh my goodness. It's a Mexican dish. I won't mention the restaurant because I don't want to do any advertising. So I'm going to eat while I do the webcast. And if that offends you, I'm 80 years old. I can do whatever I want to do. My daughter says, Daddy, come on. People don't like that. Yes, they do. Don't you want to see an 80-year-old man enjoy his dinner? Now, I have refried beans and rice. I have a chicken enchilada. I know this is cheese, but it is Friday night, and it reminds me so much of when I had my family here. There's no one here in the house with me. And this is the best Mexican food in this area where I live. They're well known, and I just love to indulge myself. So if this is rude to you, you can turn off. But listen to me. How do you deal with loss? I'm going to share with you some incidents that my brother and I, Ross, went through in life. And that's basically the best way I can really appreciate him. And that is to go back in time and think about certain events. My brother was a veteran of the Vietnam era, like I was. It's weird how fate takes us each, because fate had him be sent to Vietnam. I think it was the 125th or the 25th Infantry Division, they fired howitzers, these large cannons. And that was one of his jobs. He was also one of the things that brought about his demise. God rest him. That's what I'll tell you. One Sunday, I was leaving church from preaching, and he's my brother, so I went by his apartment to visit him. And he had been crying. I mean, a real cry. And I asked him what was the problem. Was there anything that I could do? He said, no, he's already done it, but he needed me to let him know that upon his death, was he going to be allowed in the pearly gates of heaven? That's the way he put it. And I said, since I'm a minister of that deal, in Christianity, if you live right and do right and live your life to the best that you possibly can, that you will go to some heaven to be with God. But he told me with no unquestionable terms what his role was when he was a soldier stationed in that artillery division in Vietnam, and what he had to do. And what was bothering him was the killing of the innocents. He was a part of that group. If you follow that war that got sent across the border to kill the innocents, he was ordered by his commanders to do so. And it was such a task that he told me that he was ordered to do it, and if he didn't do it, they'd shoot him. I heard some of the most horrific stories by my kid brother. He was also infected and affected. Oh, that's enough. I can't eat this whole thing in front of you. He was affected by Agent Orange, that terrible combustible thing that they used to so-called kill the enemy with. But it was horrific. It would destroy the brown crops of the Vietnamese, the farmers and other food supply, animal supply, and everything was destroyed by the horrendous attack that the American soldiers during the Vietnam conflict were inflicting upon the civilian population, as well as the Viet Cong, the Khmer Rouge, or whatever they called it in Cambodia. And he was involved in the killing of the innocents. And it perturbed him. It perturbed him. He wanted me, as a cleric, to tell him, was he going to make it to heaven because of his participation? And so I asked him a question. I said, why did you do it? He said, I was ordered to. I said, you mean to tell me you were ordered to massacre the civilians and the innocents? And he said, yes, by my commanders. And I said, and what if you had refused conscientiously? Because when you're fighting a war like that, to go and kill the innocents, the way I see it happening in my lifetime now, in 2 ongoing wars and one that I'm specifically concerned about, I told my brother Ross, I said, I don't believe, if my study about the divine is correct, that if you were following orders by a commander to do something that was unscrupulous, and then you yourself were threatened with death if you didn't carry it out, I don't see why any one of us could logically say that hell would be your eternal home. I said, I wouldn't even worry about that. You were a soldier. You were giving orders. You know, I don't think my brother ever got over that. He's 2 years younger than me. You see a picture of him on my Facebook page. I went to visit him Christmas. He was in hospice, so that meant there's no way for him to survive. It was just a matter of days. The more I think about incidents that I've had with him, the more I'm unconsciously saddened by his loss. What I would like to do is talk you people through it. How do we deal with loss? Well, not very well. I don't think anybody deals with it very well. I think that loss is as common as me munching on a little dinner. I believe that it is inevitable, loss is, that it comes in all of our lives in various forms. We deal with it. Some of us deal with it through alcohol or drugs. Some of us deal with it with uncontrollable behavior. I deal with it as a senior citizen by going back and remembering the good times that I've had with my family, the good times that I had with my brother Ross. We had many good times. You can probably see me toying with the idea now because it's very difficult for me to rectify my mind that my brother is gone. It's very, very difficult for me. I don't know what I'm going to do the rest of the evening. I'm expecting no company. I will be alone. This is going to be a very difficult weekend for me to make it through because I'm dealing with this loss. Accept it. You know, let me see, because I forgot. Oh, yeah. I forgot what I called it. It's called Sorrow into Joy. And why did I think about that? Because I was thinking about my own mortality. People are getting in. I don't want to disturb them by having them look at me. sorrow turned to joy. That's what I'm attempting to do here tonight. I said, let me see if I can find joy in this. And my daughter asked me what was I going to do on my webcast. I told her, she says, Daddy, you have to grieve. Well, I grieve better when I do this, when I speak to people about my loss. And I'm not the kind of person that boohoos over the air live. I don't gain anything from that. The best thing that I can do is to speak about it. Gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss our conversations. I've had other friends of mine that lost their loved ones, especially during the COVID seasons of the 2020s and whatnot. And they lost them there. And I can only imagine. I really can only imagine what they went through, because COVID had to be horrible. You have a loved one and then the loved one is gone. But how do you turn sorrow into joy? When I was the pastor of a church, I would say cast all your care on God because he cares for you. But that isn't going to take away your sorrow. I was looking at that DVD of Garland and Gloria's wedding, and I saw a lot of faces of the people that I was pastoring at that time. And for some reason, it intensified my sorrow. The senior citizen suffers from a unique kind of suffering that the average person can't understand. I have so many memories of life that I can't just say. You know, my daughter was right when she told me, she says, Daddy, you're such a hard-nosed guy. You figured it all out, haven't you? I really haven't. It's just that I've come to how can I say? Well, let me share with you a conversation that I had. In sharing with my family and my friends about my brother's death, I had a conversation with my first cousins, my dad's brother's children that also came up here in Southern California. Oh, this light is bothering my eyes. You see, when you get old, things bother you, man. And so you got to make sure that everything is mellow or it's not going to work right. I'm an old man now. I'm 80 years old. I can't function the way I used to function. I can't do the way I used to do. I'm moving very slow these days. And as I consider loss, because since my brother's gone, and I have another brother that's gone, and I had a sister that left me a number of years ago. And I'm counting, and there's only 1, 2, there's only 2 of us left. Yeah. With Ross, there was 3. Now there's 2 of us left. And my sister thinks just like me. Dying doesn't bother her. Oh, I see someone chiming in. Dying doesn't bother her, but it bothers me. Thank you, Morris. I know my family is suffering this. I spoke with my nephew. I won't get into that, but they're suffering. And there's nothing that you can do. Loss is inevitable. I'll go back to that biblical point. Cast all your cares on God because God cares for you. God is the only one that can lessen the pain of loss and sorrow. The only one that can lessen that pain is God. And it would be my advice to all of my friends to how can I say it? Extol God or ask God to enter in to your life to bring about that cessation of hostility. Loss is a pain, man. And I thought that I'd get over it by the time I get to be a certain age. I thought, well, I'll be all right, but no, not now. I need some help. And I've been going for the past 2 days without my medicine. But I need some help to go through this, especially while I do this YouTube live. And I'm a controversial kind of a guy. You know me. I'm going to do what other people would never do. Gonna miss Ross. He was a more outgoing than I. Excuse me, I have to medicate myself. It's legal. You heard what your president said last night. He's going to try to open up the door so that more of these sativa things can be given out. I don't do indica because I don't want to go to sleep. But I'm trying to cope with not seeing nor speaking, having a back and forth conversation with my little brother. Some real deal stuff here. Because regardless of how strong you think you are or how grounded in religious faith that you are, when you lose someone, now let's put this in perspective. I lost my brother Ross through natural causes, I guess. He had kidney and high blood pressure and the normative diseases that a lot of people in our culture gravitates to. And it seemed like the normative thing to do. And I know this is a very uncomfortable subject matter, but I think it important to discuss it. Because as you see me go through it, you're going through it with me. That's a part of the human family. You see me going through it, you're going through it with me. I'm not doing this in order to make you feel sad for me. No way. I'm doing this to educate you, and I want you to talk back to me. How would you go through the loss of a loved one? You had no control. How would you go through it? What would be the way? What would be the modus operandi that you would take? Ate a little dinner. I only ate a couple of forkfuls because since Ross is gone, I can't eat right. I don't have, I know I have to eat to live, but I don't desire to eat. And I went through the same thing when my wife passed away. I was talking with my cousins, my daddy's brother's children. And I was talking with Junie. There's one has nicknamed Junie like me. And Junie told me that he's on dialysis. He has a walker like I have, you know, the little metal one that you open out, but I rarely use it because when I get a chance, I try to exercise, to walk, to move. You young people that are young, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But when you're a senior citizen, and listen to me, my old friends, you've got to keep moving. See, it appears that my mind is good because it's sharp. I can think about things. I can do this or do that. But I'm moving slower, and I lock myself in my house. I don't want anybody to just walk in. You know how when I was a young man, I left the back door open. I left the front door unlocked. Oh, no, not now. Because it's getting so bad in Los Angeles around here. I tell people I don't carry money. When they ask me for money, I said, no, son, I don't carry money. I have a plastic card. If I need to get something, I go in there and give them my plastic card. I don't carry money. I did not advise for senior citizens to carry money when they leave their home. It's dangerous out there. There are some people that are desperate, that are hungry. I was hungry when I ordered that chicken enchilada and rice and refried beans. I was hungry when I ordered that. Like I said, ate 5 mouthfuls and I'm still hungry and I won't eat anymore. It's hard for me to get over this loss. Man, Ross and I went through some stuff. Ross was a gutsy brother. I was always a quiet one. I never take a chance. I never got in a fight with the boys on the block. Ross was always tussling. He'd knock a Negro out in a minute. And Ross is a small little fella. You saw him, the picture. Ross Allen Coleman. See, I had a good thought about it. It made me smile. I'm going to always be with my brother. Because if you're wise, you know that you have ancestors. And if you believe like me, I believe that I can speak with the spirit of my ancestors. I told Ross before he passed away. That's why you go to my Facebook and look at the picture. I told Ross before he passed away, I said, you're going to be with the spirit of the ancestors soon. Now, I know if you've been raised in Christendom and everything, they don't believe that. Well, I believe in the ancient religions, okay? I've done enough research on that to know that that's not bogus, because that's how you can get over the loss of Ross. Get in touch with the ancestors, because Ross is with them now. He's no longer on the plantation. He Kunta Kinte. He got off the plantation. No more taxes, no more rent, no more wondering how he's going to pay for this or pay for that. He's off the damn plantation. See how happy this thing made me? You got to start thinking about what's practical and get your mind out of Disneyland. Get your mind off of Disneyland. Whoever discovered this pipe discovered a beautiful little thing. That's called a good hit. Now we live in a world where there are some people who say, well, I don't believe in that. Don't. My ancestors believed in it, did it. When I want to find black people, where do I go? I go to the land of Kush. If if that flower, stop being foolish, it's legalized. That's flower. If that right there can get my mind out of the dump, because on purpose, I didn't take any medicine because I wanted my mind to be thinking sourpuss when I came on this thing. Look at my disposition now. I'm thinking about my brother Ross. I used to go and see him before he got in the hospice. And like I smoke, well, not cigarettes and stuff like that, cigars and pipes. That stuff give you cancer of the tongue and everything else. Ain't nobody ever got cancer from smoking this. And the medical authorities know it. Whether they want to admit it, I don't care. Because I'm telling you, when I had my last two surgeries, I told them doctors, if y'all want to get together with any man to get rid of the black man, now's your time. Because I'm going to be unconnected to everything. When you go in and have surgery, you know what they do? They take off all your rings, your watches, your gold chains, your glasses. You own nothing material, because if you die on that table, brother, they're going to take you straight to the place and zip you quick, x-ray you, and see what you got and see what they can take in case you got something. Hey, this is called plantation life. Me and Ross, we used to have conversations, but we never had a conversation. Hey, Junie, do you ever think we're going to get off the plantation? That would have been stupid. Let me tell you something. You live in this country, you're a black man. I'm going to tell you, I can speak freely. I don't care. If the authorities come and get me and kill me and do whatever they want to do, not that they would want to, why would they want to waste their time bludgeoning me to death? I have no influence. Too many people don't even come to my page. That doesn't bother me. I only come on when I have something pertinent to say. That's why you haven't heard from me in a while. Oh, my other cousin was around here, Jerry Mosley. She is my mother's sister's little girl. And I asked Jerry to do a YouTube live with me. I said, "Oh, you're here. We can talk about family. We can talk about Ross Fast." She said, "Oh, no, Junie." I said, "Why? It's just a few of my friends that watch it. People don't want to keep up with PJ, see how he's doing. Why don't you come on?" He said, "Oh, no, look at my hair." You know the first thing I thought? Is there a camera in here? Is this a commercial being made? Is this Hollywood? Oh, yeah. The Academy Awards is this weekend, isn't it? Yeah. I think I'll watch that, but I have much of my medicine with me because I have to, because them clowns are going to act up. They're going to act up out there this Sunday. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, I watched the president's speech last night. Did y'all see it? See, where did the sorrow go about my brother? Don't let nobody fool you. I know. Some of you say, "Oh, is that the pastor?" Yes, the pastor is getting some medicine because he's grieving. What would you expect me to do while I'm grieving? What am I praying for? That two white Anglo-Saxon angels would come and get my brother by the hand and take him up in the sky beyond the clouds. Wait a minute. Hold it. That alone would scare the bejesus out of me. He was in hospice. I told him, I said, "Ross, your day is right around the corner, brother. You're going to leave this plantation before I do." Now, as is my way, I keep you informed about what's going on with me. I don't know what it is. I made an appointment to see my doctor. And I told you people once, because I had the prostate thing, didn't I? Had that surgery. I can pee now. Everything okay. Then I had the heart thing, the left arterial artery, right? And it's still working like it's halfway working, halfway not working. Well, now I lifted my arm, and right under the arm here is a knot. I mean, a big size knot. I feel it. And I said, "No, where in the hell did this come from?" Wait a minute, hear me out. And I took a picture of it. I have a picture of it. I'm going to send the pictures tomorrow to my doctor. But my doctor's not in her office, but she can get to her email. And I'm going to ask her, can she up my appointment? Because I made an appointment. There's so many people in this city. When you make an appointment to see a doctor, which I made it at the first of the month, when I recognized this thing about the end of February. And I said, "What is this?" And so what I'm going to try to do is Okay, whoever gave me a thumbs up. I mean, I hope it's all right, really. But I'm going to send the two pictures of this lump under here to my doctor and say, do you want me to come in on the 18th like you scheduled me, or do you need to see me before? That was at the behest of my daughter. Just keeping you guys informed. Because, when you be seeing people and then people, I love the way, what's the guy that recently died? Carlton Pearson. Carlton Pearson. I love the way he did his hospice and his dying. That was so intelligent and off the chain. But Carlton Pearson was off the chain like me. He would say things. See, look, let me explain this to you guys, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. What made Carlton Pearson come to that? The same damn thing that made me come to it. Now, you can see my good preaching on my YouTube page. I got some expert exegetical sermons preached by a reformed African American mind, brilliant black apologist, having nobody out apologetic me. Forget the Greg Kokos and all the rest of them phonies. They don't even know if Jesus ever spoke with them. How can you be an apologist for Jesus and never had contact with his spirit? And when you look at me, yeah, I may be getting sick and I may be getting this, not here, that. That's from going to those damn hospitals. My grandmother told me, boy, don't you end up going to them places. Now, how do I know? Because when I was a kid in school, guess who we were studying about? We were studying about Adolf Hitler. And what was he doing over there in the late 30s and early 40s until they blew Berlin stop off? See, they said, brother, you went a little bit too far with this. But you know how they got you back? Psychologists. Which one of you watching me and that will watch me later will try to say John needs to see a shrink? How about the ones that are making sense to? Keep listening. That's why when I started off doing this cast, I was all down, wasn't I? Now, senior citizens, look what lifted me up. Sativa in a pipe. That will lift you up, my fellow senior citizens. Try to get your children to get you a pipe. Listen to me. Especially those of you that was hook, line, and sinker in this church bullcrap. You saved already. If you got the melanin drop in you, if you know what I mean. What are you talking about? We knew who we were before we were taken off of the continent and put on rice farms and tobacco fields and cotton. A good friend of mine, Lewis Finister Sr., was one of the preachers in the church that I was in. And I remember Lewis and I were talking one day, and he said, John, I said, what, Lou? He said, have you ever picked cotton? I said, you mean the cotton shirt I wore last night? He said, no, cotton. I said, man, why would I said, who's picking cotton? That was in the 70s, about 71, when he asked me that. So if our people were still picking cotton in 1971, and he came to Los Angeles a little while earlier than that, because his children watch me, to the Finister family, I say, if y'all got any of this out, an old man can smoke. And I remember when they was throwing us in prison, if they found an old man like me with a pipe like this, and look, it ain't nothing up in there really, it's just a little bit, because the old man ain't got a lot of money. I don't have no big sacks of this stuff, for those of you that think, oh, he's just over there promoting dope and everything. Yeah, man, kiss my butt. ignorant fool. I'm talking about life. And that's why you're so screwed up out there, because there's very little of us talking about life. Old people don't talk about this to you because they know that you're out of your damn mind and you're not going to listen. Me, I'm stupid enough to love you and to tell you the truth. Let me close my blinds. Too many people looking in at me. Now you see me, I had to stand up and let's see. I stand up and I turn away, and now I'm facing the camera. Now, here we go. I don't want to fall over anything. Now, the weed didn't make me dizzy. It did not. It calms the inner spirited man. What made me dizzy is my age. I'm 80 years old. I can't move fast. I have to move very slow. I have to watch my step wherever I step, because if not, and I take a wrong slip, I will fall, hit my head, and be gone forever. How you doing? See, Hardcore came in to see me. I had to lock you out because I was grieving. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't become addicted to things that you become an addict, but know the things that can help you. Now, I also know this. At any time in my life, my heart can stop beating. I'm trying to educate you. Anytime in your life, your heart can stop beating. Now, if those of you are sitting out there and you believe in your head that you can control nature to the degree that you can keep your heart beating when there's something causing that heart to stop beating. One reason that I didn't eat all this rich, delicious Mexican food is because of the cholesterol intake alone in the cheese. That's why I only take 3 or 4 spoonfuls and I have to stop. Those of you that are young, listen to me. I'm 80 years old and my body is relatively good. You don't see my skin hanging all off my face, and because I'm not doing this is my hair. I didn't dye it. This is the way it grows. All I do is just brush it and leave it alone. No, I don't use Moulin Rouge on my face. I don't know why a man would have to put anything on his face. Now, a woman, she may, because she bears children. She's burning up more protein, iron, because she's a woman. But as a man, the way it's supposed to be, we are supposed to be looking better than the women. I've always felt that way. You know, it was interesting. I was talking with my cousin today, and I thought I was telling him a secret. He said, John Jr., our family used to have discussions about you being gay. I said, what? Why didn't you ever say anything, mock me or make fun of me like that? Know what this beautiful man told me? He said, oh, we've never been like that. You know that. We've never done that. We've always seen who a person is and respect them in their lives. That's my first cousin talking to me today. And I'm 80 years old. Now, here's a question that I'd like to ask my viewing audience. Who are you going to be talking to when you're 80? And what in the hell are you going to be talking about? When you get 80 years old, could you speak about a passing relative with calmness, or would you have to call 911? Don't be so scandalous. Let me say this first of all. If I should possibly just drop off, collapse, because there's always individuals, groups of persons, are persons that will not ever like you. They will not ever believe in you because you've changed in some way in your life. And that's what life is. Life is a gradual process of change. You have to keep changing. Now, if some of you would look very close at the religion that I used to be very heavily involved in, you would agree with this next statement. Most of the stuff that we could not get done in our lives, that we've always wanted to get done in our lives, was due to that very religion that supposedly saved us when it was enslaving us. Would you agree? All right. Since you agree with me, what is the best way to be freed from that? Now, I'm going to take you back in your mind to the president's speech last night, right? When he talked about he's going to build a highway to, wait a minute, that was the only contradiction in the whole speech. We're going to have the Army engineers build a highway next to Gaza where we can airdrop food there and get it into you. Ooh, did that give you goosebumps when he said that? Did it? And at the same time, we send in tons and tons and tons and tons of, of armory and bombs and blow them all to pieces. Now, did you pick up the contradiction? The news doesn't frustrate me. When I relax myself and keep myself from wigging out because my little brother passed away. And don't ask me why am I talking like this. I was a pastor and I done so many funerals I cannot count them. I officiated them. I seen people cry, fight, try to turn the coffin over, have a conversation with the dead, and just carry on poorly because they didn't have one little toke of that. One little toke. Now, you may say, but John, are you ever dealing with your loss? That's none of your business. See? And if I should drop dead tonight, and it could possibly happen because I don't know when I'm going to drop dead. I'm not fearful. Listen to me. This is talking about being free while being enslaved on the plantation. I'm not concerned in any way that I could ever consciously or unconsciously enslave my soul to another person's plantation for an eternity because I differ with the way they think. said that because I have a black preacher friend of mine. He tells me for sure I'm going to roast in hell. That's what he tells me. Because of what? No. I'm trying to shut that barn called the church down. And I know the scripture where Jesus says, the gates of very hell will not prevail against my church. It is my premise to say philosophically that just like the people that are in that land where our forefathers came from are not true inhabitants of the land, I'm not concerned about the way you think, because you have to know enough about your own history to bring yourself up out of the abyss which you've been drugged through. Now, Hollywood's the same way because Hollywood is a kind of a church. That's why they have the Academy Awards. That will be called the pastor's anniversary. And I know I may not live to see a day. Because my brother's death, it is affecting me. And but this livens me up to work. Starts my brain. What gives me a headache when I think of all those brothers that got time. Not too much, how can I say it? Determined. I'm trying to say this without putting any religious trappings on it, because I used to talk like that my whole life. I would find myself quoting a text in the Bible. My whole life, man. I know the verses, and I don't want to do that to you. And the people that knew me when I did that, I want them to see me where I am now. And I'm telling them, I'm not afraid. I'm not breaking any laws, committing any sins. I'm a human being thinking on the planet that I live on. And I want to think right about dying because nobody came here to live forever. Even though I know that before I have my medicine, it pulls on me. Now, I don't know too much about politics, but I do know since Biden, I don't know where the marijuana thing came. It just came out of the blue. I'm glad he said it, because if a government power try to shut this off from us old people that require it, we'd be up shit's creek. So I don't care why he said it, that he said it. Now, is that going to make me vote for him? No, because you know what? See, I'm going back to this Bible verse. I believe that God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches in glory. So I believe in the one God of the whole blooming universe. I don't believe in the white man's God, the black man's God. Well, I've gone over the hour. I want you to take care of yourselves. I will let you know what is going on with this under my arm thing. I don't know what it is. If my prostate could be the size of a baseball, God only knows what this thing is under here. That's the size of a ping pong ball now. And it's hard. And oh God, the worst thing that I can take right now, I don't know whether you ever had it, was a hypodermic needle under this air. Oh, so I got a number of days of pain ahead of me as I investigate what this new growth is. And I'll keep you informed. Thank you for those that have been watching, and thank you for those that are thinking. See, because that's all I'm trying to do is get you to think. Get you to think.